will be better next time I try. And even if I still can't do it, yeah, you know that I'm gonna stick to it. Yes, it's all about going through it, and I'm gonna tell you why. Whoopsie, whoopsies, I made a mistake and it's okay. It's okay. Whoopsies are what it takes to get better and better every day. Whoopsies, I made a mistake and it's okay. It's okay. Whoopsies, help me look, see, I'm better at this today. Woo! Whoopsie, 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 whoopsies.
I'm a little embarrassed when I look at my drawing compared to this. I'm just not getting anywhere with this. It makes me wanna hide. Aw, don't be embarrassed. Don't hide.
You should have seen mine the first time I tried. It took a lot of whoopsies to look this way.
No one's perfect on their first day. Whoopsie.
Whoopsies, I made a mistake and it's okay.
It's okay. Whoopsies are what it takes to get better and better every day. Whoopsie, 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 whoopsie.
Well, what about this? I want to jump rope, but nope, I just can't do it.
Well, not yet. Come on and practice with me. You'll see there's nothing to it.
Whoa! Whoopsie.
Whoopsies, I made a mistake and it's okay. It's okay. Whoopsies, help me look, see, I'm better at this today. Woo!
It was only a dream, the waves of evil crashing over us. It was only a weak and faithful scream beneath the battlements. I know it's hard, but for long, before it's too late. Wake up, my love, please don't give up on me. It's hard. Wake up. It was only a dream, the waves of evil crashing over us. It was only a weak and faithful scream beneath the battlements. But I know it's hard, before long, before it's too dark. Wake up, my love, please don't give up on me.
What is up? What is up, you guys? We are back at it. There we go. Again, another epic day here in 100 days of rootkit. Which side is that on? This side? Let me fix that real quick. I hope y'all are ready to continue on our journey here. We're nearing towards the end. A couple days left. Alright? Couple days left. So I hope you guys are hyped. So, let's get to it, shall we? Let me go and switch the music here and let's finish up with our intro, shall we? Let's load up good old Bing. Alright. Now, if you don't know, we are a rootkit nonprofit organization here in the US of A. Why is this loud? Hold on one second. US of A. Don't go to college. Don't go to any other boot camp. It doesn't make any sense. Alright? You're already watching right now. You're already on your journey. You've already started it to get your cert. So continue through, watch all 100 days, and take this exam. Get your certification and get a job. It's really that easy. Alright? It's really, really that easy. On top of that, we have our final giveaway going on now live. So make sure you go over to the site, click on blog, and click on the final giveaway. We're giving away a shit ton of shit. And I gotta turn off that light, unless you guys want to see me strobing the whole time, alright? We're giving away a shit ton of stuff, alright? We're trying to clear out inventory because this is, look, it's only meant for this event, alright? We're going to make all new merch for next time we do the 100 Days of Rootkit. So, make sure you enter to win. It's easy. It's free. Why are you not entering? It's free. Alright, win yourself some free merch. Just click on the green button, and then you can earn additional entries by subscribing to our YouTube channel, following us on Twitch, etc., etc. We're going to have 10 different winners total. 6 of them will get a sweater. And then everyone else, including the sweater winners, will receive all of the 100 Days of Rootkit stickers. Alright, all of these beautiful guys. They will receive all of the normal stickers that we have. And they'll receive a couple of the pins. We don't have very many left. Alright, not very many at all left. Alright, they'll receive a couple of those. Alright. Alright, and on top of that, before I get in the... I gotta turn off this light. It's gonna give me cancer, alright? Hold on one sec. Oh, thank the Lord. Holy crap. Alright. So, on top of that, if you click on the link in the description of the video, if you're watching on YouTube or if you're on Twitch, if you scroll down below, you'll see a link there. You can go ahead and donate to us. We are a charity, so if you donate today, it's 100% tax deductible. Avoid your taxes, donate today. Depending on how much you donate, you can unlock certain rewards like our epic stickers, our collab t-shirt, and our epic sweater. If you don't want to pay for a sweater, quote unquote, from this, enter to win the free giveaway. There you go. We have additional pillars along the way, like streaming for 24 hours straight, shaving my head here live on stream, and the one no one really cares about. All right, we don't even talk about the last goal. All right, we don't even talk about the last goal. All right. Again, all donations are matched 1-for-1 for the first 10,000 donations during the event. Lastly, if you are a Patreon volunteer or Discord premium or server subscription, whatever it's called. This thing, server subscriber. Alright? You have access to, there we go, the events chat, which I am now in. Alright? I wasn't in it earlier. I guess I didn't make an event on the Discord for today. You can join into the events chat. Alright? And chat away. You don't need to be like all the normies that have to type their questions. Alright? You can ask your questions verbally at any time. Just hop on here and ask. Interrupt. Don't feel bad for interrupting. You can do it at any time. Let me go and bring up the chat here real quick. If you do have any questions, comments, or concerns right now, please put them in the chat. All right, please put them in the chat. I'm going to go ahead real quick, make this event, because I didn't realize it was missing. All right, so let's grab this link. Let's go ahead and grab this title. And sure, we'll do that. Create. And let's start it. Start event. Oh, thanks for the follow, Zambrix. Absolutely beautiful. That's what I'm talking about. Was that follow from your entries? I hope it was. I hope you just entered right now to win some merch. Let me refresh this. If I don't see any entries there, I'm gonna be just... Man, go over here and get your entries to win some free merch. Alright, you just followed us. That's some extra entries right there. Alright. Let us pull up our code. We need good old Bing because we're using Bing chat now. All right, we're all about that AI life. And let's pull up our code here. This is the right code, right? Perfect. So we got to continue on. I don't see any questions in the chat. So again, if you do have any questions, go and put them in there. So we left off yesterday with, again, showing off how Flask RESTful with JWT and with Flask SQL Alchemy can be extremely powerful. Kind of annoying, a little bit cancerous to initially set everything up. But once you do, it's very rewarding, right? It's very, very rewarding. And again, since this is the last project, we are going way faster than normal, 150 million miles per hour. So if you were a little bit confused yesterday, it's recorded. Go rewatch it. All right, go rewatch it and bring up your questions on Sunday for the chill Q&A. Let's bring up our little roadmap here. All right, let's bring up our little roadmap. We have successfully completed user registration and login. So we could change these to the little check boxes. That's the checkbox, right? So that way we have something a little bit more visually appealing. So next thing on our list to complete here would be profile creation and management. Now, arguably, profile creation is already kind of made, because when the user gets created, their account is made and their profile is technically made. So we don't have to explore that too much. Again, if you want to keep building upon this, you are more than free to. But we're going to kind of keep it as is. We will definitely show management though, how to maybe go and change your username later on. Maybe we'll add a bio section so you can have a little bio and tell people about how, you know, cool and hip you are, or how emotionally damaged you are. All right. So let's go ahead and dive into that today. And I think that will be pretty much today. I think tomorrow we'll dive into image posting. Let me go and check the chats here and make sure everyone is good. Get some coffee. Oh, cause I'm a little tired. All right. Yeah, it shows that I don't have any commits because added a bunch of documentation for our Patreon and Discord supporters. So let us see here. Our profile. So we have login and auth. We should make one for our users. So probably a file called user for our users so we can manipulate our users. Makes sense, right? So let's go ahead and do that. Test has been really great for us to test some concepts out. So let's kind of copy this code, because that's what we do as devs, is we steal and conquer. All right, so let's steal our own code here and use this kind of as our base. And you'll notice as we move forward, some things that are not as dry anymore, which we can create dry. It's something we will not test on if you know how to do on the exam, and that's creation of decorators. Right? We're going to show how to make a decorator, and how you can use your own custom decorators, but this is definitely not something that you have to show off during the exam. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. Before you do, let's situate our Git here. So our current Git branch is Git status. We're currently in dev, so we could stay in dev, and that's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and do a Git commit real quick to commit all of these comments. Added some comments for some supporters. All right. Let's go ahead and Git push that up. Let's go ahead and check out onto another branch, because we haven't really been doing that. We've been kind of just going full steam ahead. So let's Git check out TAC B, and what features are we going to be making? We're going to be doing profile management. All right, so let's go ahead and make a new branch called profile management. Let's go ahead and Git push that up so that way it's synced up to the server. And there we go. Now let's go ahead and make a new file here in our libs for our profile management. Again, we can just call this users. I think that makes the most sense because it has to do with the user, manipulating the user, etc., etc., etc. Now it's pretty classic, and you'll see this, it's pretty common for a lot of services to have a /me or a /@me endpoint, which is basically if you hit it with your token, it will respond back with your user information. Pretty much all the basics on you. kind of like what we're doing here in test. Actually, by kinda, I mean exactly what we're doing here in test. So let's copy all of this code that we have here in test and paste it over onto user. We gotta also bring over these imports, so let's go ahead and bring over these imports. And this will no longer be test, we're gonna call this me. All right, me. So effectively, when you hit this endpoint, you will give it your token, and we're not going to do it with query params. We're going to be more proper and do it via the authorization field in the headers. So when you pass your token in there, we're going to look at it. If you are if it's a valid token, awesome. We're going to allow you to try to look yourself up. All right. If it's not a valid token, we're going to be like, no, get the hell out of here. All right, you're wrong. All right, we're going to say invalid token. Then we're going to look up the user. Now that I see, potentially could cause an issue, because if the username for some reason is not in the database, I don't know why, if you got this far, unless you made an invalid token, it should pass fine. But if not, we can just make a quick if statement here. If the user is none, then we can say the user was not found. All right, again, the GitHub Copilot coming in clutch, auto writing all that code for me right there. All right. Again, highly recommend it if you have the $20 to spare. All right. So we can finish this off with our actual user object. Now we don't really have we have the user object right here defined. So in this user object, we could build upon it a little bit more, because you'll notice we can't really just return our user. Right? If we try to do that, it's going to cause some issues. Let's go ahead and show that off. Let's start up our server here. Please tell me I have the Flask command. We're going to struggle through it again, all right, today if I didn't have it. Let's go and pull up Postman, and let's go ahead and do our git test and see it is returning a proper result. That's because we're hitting test, and we need to hit the user endpoint, which we didn't add. So we got to finish adding this endpoint before we see this error out. All right, we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. So let's go ahead and go over to main. We need to add our new endpoint here. So let's go ahead and copy and paste from one of these other ones. I'm going to space it out because it's slightly different than the login and sign up. This is going to be in libs auth user. Sorry, not libs auth, libs user dot me. It's not going to show up yet because we didn't import it below or above. I'm going to say me in here, and right here we're going to do our import. This right here, import. Oh, there we go, perfect. Import libs user. So now we have added this endpoint. So when we now try to ping our server with our new endpoint, let's make a folder in here, call this user. And inside here, we're going to make a new request. This is going to be a GET request for our get user info. This is going to be a URL /me. And we need our authorization is going to be the bearer token. What is the bearer token? Sorry, not this bearer token, this bearer token. Is that the right one? I guess we'll figure out. Yeah, that's not the right one. So let's go ahead. Oh, no, this is the right one. Right, 500. What line was this on? I believe this is the right one. This is the right one. We're gonna get an error. Right, this is the error that I want us to see. All right, and kind of show off. We're getting this error because when we try to return the user, it needs to be a dictionary or a list. And when it tries to make it into a dictionary, because it's going to try to do that, it doesn't get made into a dictionary. It freaks out. All right, we could try to cast it into a dictionary like that and rerun it, and you'll see it still freaks out. All right, it's like I don't know how to make this into a dictionary at all. To alleviate this, we have those custom built-in functions or methods, I should say, in our classes that we kind of mentioned and went over before a long time ago in the class section. We can utilize those to effectively allow this to be casted into a dictionary or a string or etc. All right, it's very easy. If we're in a class, we can make that a special function called underscore underscore. Repr is one of them. We're not going to use repr. We're going to use dict. All right. So if we make a def underscore underscore dict, whenever someone tries to cast our class into a dictionary, this is the logic that's going to execute to make it into a dictionary, right? We have to do this very manually, right? So again, this is probably the most useful thing for Copilot in my personal projects is just auto spawning these, especially when you have like 100 different variables. Oh, it's so beautiful. Additionally, you can do this for string. So if we do def underscore underscore and then string underscore underscore, there we go. That's the string version of it. I don't like that string version of it generated, but we'll just keep it for now. It doesn't really matter. So now that we have this, we can effectively take the item from the database straight up and just return it, right? We can just straight up return it. And if we rerun this, you'll see that it says that the method object does not support item assignments. All right, what is going on here for this one now? Let's go ahead and just return that and just make sure we have functioning code. We don't have functioning code. What are we missing here? Because we just copy and paste this and it was working before. Any questions, comments, or concerns so far in regards to the recap of classes, the dict method, and the string method? YouTube, don't suppress this dictionary or this video, all right? It's not the type of dick you think of, all right? Dirty old YouTube. All right, so let's see here. Are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. All right, so let's see here. Header authorization, token split. Is it really gonna? Okay, fine. Oh, here we go. Method assignment did get better. Where is this coming from? Is this from? All right, let's restart the server and see. Was it in? Okay, let's go ahead and run Postman once. Method. Let's scroll to the top. Why is this error so large? So it says method object was not a supported item. This is for dict key inside of SQL Alchemy. So it's an issue with our SQL Alchemy, which means I see. I don't know why. I swear I thought it just automatically returns none. So I think what it is it can't find our user in the database. So it's freaking out. At least that's my initial assumption. Where is our... oh, did I close it? Let's see here. Flask app, blah, 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 blah. Handler. Holy crap. There's meth running in our application. Don't tell the cops. All right. So here we go. This is what we wanted. Sometimes errors are not fun and it's hidden in the middle of it. As you can see, pretty much everything's useless until right here. So it is on our DB query statement. Something's going awry. So most likely, I'm guessing it's the user that's going awry. So we can simply see that by going in and doing a print data here. So we can see what user is in this token, and then we can check the database and see what user we have in there. So let's scroll up right here. Bobby B123. I thought we added Bobby B123. Let's go ahead and pull up dbeaver and connect to the database and just do a quick sanity check on the users that we have in there. Additionally, this is now a use case that we should definitely be wrapping our query in a try and accept so it doesn't fail like this massively. It handles it a little bit more gracefully, all right? So let's go ahead and open up InstaClone here, our database. We're not going to update. Bobby B is right here. And I just spilled coffee on myself. All right. So Bobby B's right here. Is my DB import user. Last scenario. Let's go ahead and just copy this beautiful error. And let's ask Bing. All right. That's why we have our beautiful chatbot here. So let's go why. Just ask it a good old why. And let's see what this is before we potentially just reissue ourselves a new token. Because this literally worked yesterday on stream. Type error method does not support item assignment blah blah blah. Okay. Data is going to be okay. I think it's this. No, that's this scalar. Sorry, you guys. This is I feel like it's always something very simple that we're just messing up on. As a quick sanity, I'm literally gonna recopy all of test and just paste it here. So it's unaltered, changes to me. Let's rerun this unaltered real quick. All right, let's rerun this unaltered. Proxy could not understand. Rerun again. Could not understand. Authorization token. Is this the right token? Test here. Copy this token here. Paste it here. That is the same token. Could not understand proxy. What the hell? 400 error. We have no custom 400 errors, so it's coming in before that. We don't want these to go off. We only want it to get from the headers. Okay, now we're getting the same message we were before. But why? Why we gotta start the day so difficult like this? So embarrassing. It's alright. Programming. What can I say? This database is on, right? We are connected to it, right? Just refresh, do a sanity check. Bobby B's in there. Did we change the layout of user? Does it not like these? I don't know why it wouldn't like those. That doesn't make any sense. Holy crap. We found it. We found the issue. So let's do Dick alone. Okay, so it doesn't like this. So what we'll do is just change this to 2 Dick. Holy crap. Oh. Alright, so problem solving. Alright, problem solving. Go through your steps every single time. Alright, go through all your steps every single time. Read the error. Go through your AI assistant. Undo if you copied and pasted it from somewhere else and it worked before. Copy and paste it over. Through process elimination, if the error is not really that defined to us at first, we'll eventually figure out what was the issue through process elimination, aka what did we change? We pretty much had unaltered code except for this class was the only one that we changed. So it's something about these default methods that are messing it up. So we're just going to avoid that and just use our own custom toDict. All right. And this will return a dictionary. So let's go ahead and set that to return dict. There we go. Now we can just say user.toDict. There we go. Now when we send here, date time is not serializable. So let's go ahead and fix that issue more properly this time. So this is going to be date time and this is going to be a date time. We want date time to go to string. So let's say string, and this one we're going to want a string. All right, so now let's go ahead and rerun this. There we go. Now we have the user being fully returned. All right, so when someone hits the me endpoint, it will give you information about yourself. All right, and whenever we want to edit this endpoint and include more data, less data, etc., we simply can just edit this function that is a part of the user, right? Is a part of the user. Additionally, this has multiple use cases because we can use this class to get information to the user anywhere else, all right? Anywhere else in our code that we may desire it. So again, this is the power of using SQL Alchemy, because it's a very compressed, all in one place phenomenon we got going on here, all right? It's our connection to the database. It updates the user in the database, creates the user in the database, but also works as a normal class, which can have normal functions on it, and it can be used like that. So that's super, super cool. All right, so we did that. All right, we have the me endpoint. We want to continue on with our user classes. We want the user to, let's say, be able to edit their username, and we need to make a bio in here. All right, we need to make a bio in here, which means we need to alter our user object. And remember, when we alter our user object in here, the database will not reflect that update. So we have one of two options. One, delete the table and have it auto-generate the new table. Or two, we have to go into the database and make the additions ourselves, or we could write a script to make the additions. Since we have some users in here, we'll just make the additions ourselves. It's not like it's that difficult, all right? So what we'll do here is we're gonna say bio equals, there we go, DB column with DB string 255. So they can have up to 255 characters in their bio. All right, the last thing we wanna do is go over here in the database, and we'll go to properties. We'll make a new column here called bio, and we're going to set this to a varchar and varchar 255, right? And we'll go and click on OK. We'll click on save so it fully commits the database, and whammo bammo, our database is now in sync with our code. And in here, we can manipulate this, so now it also includes bio. So now when we click on send, look at that, bio shows up. How convenient is that? Null might show up, because when the database returns, by default, we didn't set a default. So by default, it's going to be a null value. If we don't want it to be a null value by default, we need to change bio here, specifically right here in default. You see how it's set to null. We can change that to absolutely nothing, and then click on save, persist, and there we go. Now it will no longer be null. It will be null because that was assigned for this user, but for all additional new users, it won't be null. All right. So we want people now to be able to edit their username. I guess we could just do password also. Again, do not use this for passwords in your full application. This is a no-no. And then we can do bio. So let's show how we could go about making the endpoint for our service for users to update that information. So we don't need to make a new file because we're just going to throw it here in user, because everything about the user is going to be in this user file. We do need a new endpoint though. So what we're going to do is steal our own code. We're going to copy me and we're going to paste me. We're going to change this from me to edit me, because we're clever, I guess. We're going to do edit me. All right, we're going to do edit me. Actually, do we even need to do an edit me? I don't think Snow is going to be very happy with me, but what we're going to do instead is something else, right? We're actually not going to use another class, all right? I'm pretty sure this is not proper, all right, or not as proper as people would like it to be, but it works. At least in my head, I think it works, so I would do it, all right? Again, there are no rules or regulations on how you go about things. There's just agreed upon ways to go about it. What I think we could do is we could just simply make a post request on this me, all right, by setting post for doing our updates. So that way on me, you can do a get request on me to get your information, or you can do a post request on me to change your information. Makes sense to me. I don't know about you, all right? I don't know if Snow would agree, all right? Because Snow knows a little bit more than me on what's customary for your endpoints, but he's not here right now. So let's continue, shall we? So when people want to change information about themselves, there's a couple ways we can go about this. We need to know what information we want to allow them to edit on their profile, all right? where do you include what is allowable? All right, you could include it here in post. You could also include it in the user class. All right, I'm going to include it in the user class. Inside of def editable. Yeah, we're gonna go in there. Excuse me, and we're gonna make this just a normal function, all right? Because it doesn't need to do self, all right? Doesn't need to have any association with that, and it's going to list what variables we are going to allow someone to edit. We're kind of doing it this funky way because again, this is coming from DB model, which has its own unique quirkiness, so we can't really manipulate. We can manipulate we can manipulate this if we wanted to, and we could do our super dot underscore init, but I'm not quite sure what is required in the super init. So we would have to look into that, and we don't really have time for that. All right. So I would highly recommend this is a better way of doing it. But for now, since we're low on time, we're just going to continue forward without it. So better way is to use your underscore or your own constructor. All right. So here we want, they can edit their bio, they can edit their password, and they can edit their username. Why is this a list? Great question. Lists are iterable, so we can condense all of our if statements into one if statement, right? That's why I like ifs. Not ifs, lists. So if we go over to our post, the first thing we want to do is get that authorization token, because we don't want them to be editing a profile unless they're successfully logged in. And on top of that, we don't want them to be editing anyone's profile. We only want them to edit their own profile. All right. So let's go ahead and copy this authorization code right here, paste it right here. So we're going to grab the authorization token. We're going to grab the token part of the token, and then we're going to validate that token actually came from our server, and it wasn't just made up by themselves. If that is the case, then we can get the user from the database. And once we get the user from the database, then we can get the data that they sent us. So they're going to send us a post request with the field that they want to edit and the new value for it. All right. Which means they're going to be sending it on request. And we got to do a dot JSON, or is it dot get JSON, in order to get that JSON data. And this is going to be a dictionary, which means we can iterate through that dictionary. All right. So if we do for key in this, so that will give us every single key in the dictionary. And this is trying to auto generate this code. This is a lot of code. We don't need to do this because we used a if statement, right? We used a beautiful little if statement. So what we can do, not an if statement, a function that returns a list, right? So we can say if the key is inside the list, not user dot, where's our list? What do we call it? To dict editable. Here we go. If it's inside of this list, then they can edit it. There we go. Yeah, this is perfect actually. So we're going to go through every single key in that JSON data they sent us. All right. So this allows for dynamic usage. So if they do a post request, they don't have to send us a fixed size piece of data. Sometimes a lot of endpoints will require a fixed size amount of data, aka like, you must always say what the username's value is going to be and the password's value is going to be. And if you don't want to change it, set it to null. All right. Instead of that, you only tell me what you want to update, and I will automatically detect it. All right. See if it's valid for editing, and if it is, then we will edit it. All right. So this will go through every single item. then those items, it's going to see if it's an editable. If it is editable, then we will allow you to edit it. setAttr is a built-in function into Python. I'm not quite sure if we've showed it off yet, but effectively it's the equivalent of us saying user.password is equal to, you know, our new password, right? Except using dot in password doesn't work unless we program it like this. So we can't just say, for example, key has the value, right? Key has the value that we want to edit. That's a part of users. We can't just say user.key because that's going to be a variable called key on user. So instead we have to use setAttr, where we say the, well, if we look right here, you say the object, right? Then you say the name of the attribute that you want to edit, right? Which is not key, but it's the value inside of the key variable that we want to edit. And the third one is the new data we want to shove in there, all right? So that's what this last one is, all right? Our get JSON with the key, right? Based off that key item. So if we save that and look here, we can go ahead and user and we can make a new request, call this edit user. This is going to be a post request on the me endpoint. Authorization should be, we want bearer token, it auto-filled. So if we hit it right now, we should see nothing really happens because we are missing, we need to do a return here. So let's go ahead and do a return, and we can just say like message user updated successfully. All right. So if we do that again, I think it's erroring out on this one. It's not saying any error. 400 request for our post. This is set up as a post. This shouldn't error out. It should always get to this part. All right. Did not attempt to load JSON data because the request content type was not application JSON, aka our body here is not application JSON. So let's change that to raw and to our JSON and then send. It's still gonna freak out, so let's just put a empty object in there, and there we go. Now it's gonna say user updated successfully. What does it mean by that? Well, we didn't have anything in it, so it's gonna see there's nothing in here, so this for loop's not really gonna run at all. It's kind of just gonna skip it and then give you the message, all right? So it will just say that it was successful. We hit it, we didn't update anything, but it's whatever. If we want to update something now, let's say we want to update our password, all right? It's just as simple as saying we want to update our password. And now that we want to update our password, we're going to say our new password, new cool changed password, all right? We're gonna go and send that. And you can see we get a absolutely beautiful error. User editable takes 0 positional arguments, but 1 was given. We wrote this wrong. Where is the user editable is not a part of this. It's going to be a part of user editable, all right? Capital U user from the class because it's a function that's attached to the class. So let's go ahead and rerun this. Now it says user was updated successful. If we go ahead and check our database here and look at our data and refresh, it didn't reflect that it was changed at all because I think the last thing we need to do is our db.session commit in order to commit all of our changes. So let's go ahead and rerun this again and refresh and look at that, right? Our password just changed to new cool password right here. So this again shows off the power of using SQL Alchemy because we didn't have to write a bunch of SQL code here, right? We didn't have to write a bunch of SQL code here at all. We're using this object like we would normally use objects. We have to just include this last little line here for committing, all right? Officially saving all of the changes we made to the database, and it automatically does everything for us, right? So super, super cool. And now our user can update itself. Now just know there is a known bug right now, right? A known bug, and we can solve that right now. If I were to change my username right now, because we did allow username to be an editable field, if I change that, our JWT, our token, has the username of the account that made that token in it. So if we try to look up our account, we're going to run into some issues. So the way you should be typically looking up accounts is not based off their username. You should be looking them up based off their ID, right? That's why we use the IDs in the first place. So let's go ahead and change this logic here around, specifically for our, let's go ahead and first show off the error, shall we? So if we want to change our username right now, a username, and let's change it to or I don't know, Pony Lover 9000, right? Let's go and change our username. Great, it says it successfully changed. Let's try to change it again. Uh-oh, little bit of an error, right? Little bit of an error that's going on here. Additionally, another way we could potentially wrap this in a try and accept. You don't have to. The server's still running functionally just fine, and it's going to return the proper error, which is a 500 error. But if you want to be a little more custom, you can. Also, when you run this not in debug mode, in more of a prod mode, you will not be returning the users this whole traceback, all right? This is only when we're in debug mode, right? Only when we're in debug mode. This is an issue. This is why we want to be looking people up based off their ID and not their username, right? Not their username. So let's go ahead and show that logic, shall we? Any questions, comments, or concerns before we chug along here, right? Because we did cover a lot, right? We did cover a lot. I don't see any questions. So if you do have any questions, go ahead and ask them. All right, go ahead and ask them. But for now, we're going to continue chugging along. All right. So let's see here. We need to change our logic. This may seem like a lot of work. All right. You might be a little worried right now. Well, luckily, we already did all the hard work by setting up SQL Alchemy. So the rest is super, super easy. All right. Just a little hint there. All right. A little hint. It's super easy. The first thing we need to do is in auth, when we create the token, all right, when we create the token, we don't want to be shoving, so in login, we don't want to shove the user and the username in here anymore. We want to shove the user ID and then the user ID in here. So if we say user.id, there we go. Congratulations, we've changed like half of it, all right? So now the user ID is going in the token, so we don't need to worry about them changing their username anymore and it messing things up. The last thing we need to do is for our user endpoint here, for get and for post, for our validation here, we need to change this from, actually, sorry, not here, in our user lookup. We need to change this from being username to ID, and then data, user ID. I guess we could just change this to ID. So back in auth, instead of saying user ID here, I'll just say ID. All right. So we just change everything to ID instead of username. So this one, ID, and ID, and there we go. We made all the changes we need to do. Seemed like a lot, but since we took all of the time to set things up, it was super, super easy. Right, super, super easy to go about this. All right, so with that change now, we can see when we change the username, it no longer affects us. One problem though, our authorization token is out of date, right? It's out of sync. It still has the old username stuff in it. So we need to re-log in order to get the new token. So let's go ahead and go to /login. And we want to do this one and log in. There we go. We successfully logged in, and we can grab our new beautiful token here. So let's go ahead and copy that token, and let's go ahead and just do a GET request on /me to see if it works and see if we got our user information back. Look at that. We got our user information back. All right, now it's going to be doing the lookups on ID here, and we have an ID of 2, which means now when we go to edit user and we use our token in here, this is another issue we're going to have to resolve, but ignore that issue for right now. If we change our username to ASDF, look at that. We change it to ASDF, and now we want to change it to FDSA, and we can do that. All right, it's no longer going to cause an issue that our username is changing because we are just doing all our lookups based off of our ID. Furthermore, again, you don't need to just update one item at a time. You can put in as many in here as you want. So let's change our username back to QFC9. Let's also give us a bio. All right, and not boy, bio. And our bio is going to say, I like doing things with computers, right? So we can update both of these at the same time. Before I click the send button, so you guys can see, username and our bio, sorry, our username right here is for this current account, and our bio is set to null, right? When we click send, it will say user was updated successfully, and if we look in the database here, you're going to see now it has the username of QFC9 and the bio was updated. We can also see this reflected when we just get our user info. And you'll see in here that it has QFC9 and our bio updated. So we can update as many items as we want on this endpoint now. Excuse me. Any questions with that? I'm going to wait a couple more seconds here to see if there's any questions before we chug along. All right, let us chug along here. So there is a known issue, which we can go ahead and put here. To do duplicate entries are not allowed, protect against that. All right, so we need to do that. So if I have the username QFC9, someone else wants to have the username QFC9, right now they currently are not allowed to do that. I thought we chose early on that we would allow that, and we were going to throw the IDs at the end of it to be kind of like Discord. I thought we were going to do something like that. Were we? I can't remember. We're gonna remove that now. We're gonna make all the usernames unique, because I think our auto-generated code from GitHub Copilot made it so usernames are unique, which is right here set to true. So we'll need to protect against that and have the errors not mess things up. Super easy for us. All we're gonna do is make a try and accept around it, and right here for I guess integrity error is the one that we want. So let's go and copy this error, and right here we can do for our post request, I think it's going to be around our commit, because this is where things are actually going to be saved. We're going to do a try. We're going to try to commit the data, and if that fails, we want to accept this exception. So let's import SQL Alchemy. So this exception, there we go. Return duplicate entry. So now if that works, if we go to Postman and we try to update our username and then update our username again, there we go. looks like things are going smoothly. Let me go ahead. Maybe that's because we updated our same username, I thought, twice before. Interesting. Is it because we logged in as a different user? Let's log in as a different user and try to set it as QFC9. So let's log in as Pony Lover. I'm going to copy the password there. So login, Pony Lover 9000. Let's paste their password. Let's grab their token, and then now let's try to change their username to QFC9. So authorization, change their token, send. There we go. Duplicate entry. So now it's handling it gracefully. All right, now it's handling it gracefully. So again, really easy to add all of these changes, all these additional items. The thing is just testing. We're not showing off, but there are entire testing libraries for you to easily build automated tests to make tests like these. How do you know what tests you need to make? Great question. You don't. You kind of figure out a lot of them along the way. Through time, you will learn tests that you will need to perform, or when you program out things, you're like, oh, I should probably build a test for that and this and this and that. And you can then start writing tests for it. There's also a development ideology called test-driven development. I think it's a good idea, but I don't know if I'd actually do it. I don't really do it, test-driven development, because it's a lot of work. Effectively, you write tests first, and then you build your endpoints or your functions or whatever you're ending up building afterwards to conform to the tests. All right, totally up to you. Some companies do that and it works really well for them. All right, it works really well for them, and it's great for security ways, right? Potentially. So let's see here. It's about time to go on break. So before we go on break, let's see our README. So we have management. You can now manage your profile, edit some things. So I think we're about ready to move on to content posting. All right, I think we're just about ready for that. I think these are supposed to be lowercase x's. If I did forget something for the profile, please leave a comment for it so we can cover it. But I think we're about good. Before we go on break though, let's go ahead and do our git commit. So git add all, git commit, and we added user endpoints for getting user info and updating user info. We'll go and push that up. Whammo bammo, everything's saved, pushed up, sync to the server, we're good. So when we come back from the break, I will check and see if there's any comments, questions, or concerns, or anything that we missed on the management. I feel like we did. If we did, we'll figure out here real quick as we continue forward. But when we come back, we'll start with our content creation, building out the tables for our content posting, and then maybe setting up the endpoints for posting text content only without images, and maybe we'll make an image one and just accept URLs, not images right now. I don't know. We'll see. All right, so I'll see you guys in 3 to 5 minutes. Alrighty, alrighty. Let's get back into things, shall we, you hooligans? Alright, let's continue on our journey. Alright, I don't see any questions, comments, or concerns, so things must be going good for you guys. Make sure you ask if you do have any. But before we jump back into things, let's just do our quick recap. If you're just joining us right now, we are Rootkit Nonprofit here in the US of A. Don't go to college. Don't go to any other boot camp. Come on. You're already watching. You already started your journey on 100 Days of Rootkit. Keep watching, learn everything, all 100 days, free 99 here on YouTube, or if you're watching the Twitch VODs, then take the cert exam. You're watching right now? Great. Leave a comment in the video. If you're in the chat, leave a comment in the chat. If you're in the Discord, leave something in the Discord of the 100 Days of Rootkit. And congratulations, you just won yourself a waiver to take the exam for free. We hook you up with a job. To learn all about all the benefits, you can just look on our site and learn about all the beautiful things we give you. All right, too good to be true? Well, it's not. All right, it's very true. All right. On top of all of that, if you want to win some free merch, go to our site, click on blog. Our final giveaway is going on. We're dumping a bunch of merch out. All right, 10 different winners. 6 of them will get sweaters. All of them will receive the exclusive 100-day stickers, the normal stickers, and will receive at least a pin, at least one, if not a handful of them, because we got a lot of them. I want to start chucking them out. All right, just click the green button and enter. It's free. No excuse, all right? Win yourself some clothes, all right? You don't like the clothes, just sell it. Sell it for $5 or something. I don't know. On top of that, we are a charity. You don't like you don't like paying taxes? Great, no one does. I don't like paying taxes either. Avoid your taxes. Donate today, all right? We are a charity, so it's all 100% tax deductible. Depending on how much you donate, you can unlock certain rewards like our epic stickers, our collab t-shirt, and our epic 100 Day of Rootkit sweater. On top of that, all donations are matched 1-for-1 for the first 10,000 donations. So every time you donate, it's like donating twice as much. So there's no reason not to donate. Depending on how much you guys donate, we have pillars along the way, like streaming for 24 hours straight, shaving my head here live on stream, and the goal no one wants to see is shaving my beard. Right? No one wants that, except for my mom. Let's disappoint my mom together. We're about to, all right? There's no way, all right? So let us continue on, shall we, on our journey. We are making this little Instagram clone. We are going to be building the full stack application. We are including machine learning, all right? We're also showing off how you can go about developing things in a more proper way, but also making this project extensive enough where anything that you potentially, a good amount of stuff you could potentially get on the comp sci, a practical exam that we facilitate to you, this will definitely cover everything that you would need to know to pass that and more. But there's a whole pool of the practical exams, so it's not guaranteed that you'll get the one that matches closely to this. And this is way harder. What we're covering here and doing for our final project is way harder and much more than is going to be required for the practical exam, because we're giving you guys some stretch goal items here to learn, investigate, and get into, and incorporating machine learning, which we haven't done at all this whole time. All right, so this is where the machine learning kind of starts, when we get into the images, specifically on the second part where we're automatically scanning images and extracting details from those images. So this will be the machine learning section. Most likely at the pace we're going, we'll hit that tomorrow. Today we got to first set up being able to post. All right, so once a user is registered, set up their profile, did any edits they want to do, changes their bio to include lots of hearts and make them seem relatable, great, they're on their way to be a AAA influencer. Now they need to start posting. All right, start posting things to get a following. Our version of Instagram here is going to allow for straight up texts and image with text. All right, I guess it's more like a Facebook. All right, it's more like a Facebook. We need to make these items in the database. Right, we need to make these items in the database. So we got to think about it a little bit. How do we want to lay out the database? Well, we should be in the database file here to make these new items. All right, we have the user class here. Now we need to make a new class for our text posts, image posts, posts in general. It should just be posts in general. All right, posts in general. So let's go ahead and make a class here. Class here called post. And this is going to be db.model. So that way it will automatically create a table for us in the database. We'll press enter here. And I click something weird. So we need to kind of think about this. We can start, immediately copying from user down here, specifically the ID. Because what did I tell you guys? You should just always have an ID. So we're just going to throw the generic ID because I'm telling you guys, you should just always, until you're more comfortable with things, just have ID. Next, we need to make the ID for the who posted it. Who posted it? We don't, again, when we talked about databases and database structure and the proper way to go about utilizing databases, don't duplicate your data. We already have a user with a username and all of their user information. We're not going to store their username in the post. We're going to store their ID as a reference to the user table, and so we can extract the user via that. All right. So we're going to say here, not like user, we're going to say user ID, and that's going to be equal to, there we go, perfect. It auto wrote it for us completely. An integer, that's going to be a foreign key to where? To user.id, and it cannot be null, because if they make a post, it shouldn't be null. It should always be tied to some type of user. All right. Next, we can assume that we may want not really a title, but the text content of it. All right. So we're going to be kind of like Twitter, 255 characters they get for their post. All right. They get for their post. On top of that, we're going to want some basic things like created at, if we want editability, updated at, and I guess we could make a disabled field also if we wanted to retain, let's say, again, if you are making a big site or if you're joining a big company like Facebook, Instagram, Google, whatever. The reality of the world is people like doing bad things, whether that's viruses, scams, or child pornography. You need to be able to help law enforcement. So when people want to delete their posts, sometimes it may not be the best thing to actually let them delete the post, all right? What you can do instead is put it in a disabled state, or what's common practice in pretty much every company is it will go to a anonymous state, all right, where basically it's stripped of potential user like recall data. I'm forgetting the terms right now, but if you read pretty much any terms of service, they don't really delete anything, truly delete it until a certain time period passes. So every time you delete something, it's still going to be stored, and they may only delete after a certain time period, or they may never delete it at all. And they anonymize it. That's what I mean. They might anonymize your data in the meanwhile. Again, this is for a myriad of reasons. Number one is the greed reason. More data you have, the more power you have, specifically when it comes to machine learning. So the more you hoard, the better you can make these models, because now you have lots of data. But secondarily, if your services are being used for illegal reasons, you want to help, law enforcement, or else they're going to shove your shit in, all right? And it's not going to be fun, all right? They're going to take you down before you are allowed to continue forward with that type of behavior. So it's best to probably have a disabled field, all right? Let us see here. The last thing we're missing here is for photos, right? For photo posts. So the question you have to answer in regards to this is, how do photos work? You can't really just store a photo in a database. It's common practice to store a photo on a disk, not in a database, like on a disk in a folder somewhere that you can then retrieve, all right? If you use cloud services like AWS or Azure or Google Cloud, they have buckets that you can dump your files into and then retrieve them out of the files. So what's common practice is your photo will actually be a reference to a URL, and that URL will go to a location where that photo is currently hosted on. All right. So that's something we could potentially do here. Is instead of for our photo, that would be equal to, there we go, a URL. I guess this is going to limit it to 255. You may want to alter this depending on how long your URLs are, because this definitely will not be long enough for a lot of URLs. Excuse me. So the process when people submit something with a photo, it should be storing that photo on disk somewhere that then can be recalled later. Now, this, you may want a secondary table. Again, it depends on how you want to set it up, right? It depends on how you want to set it up. And for our cases, I think it would be more appropriate if we set up a second table here, called photo, simply because we are also going to do machine learning to scan. Look at that, it's trying to make the comment for us already. I like what you're doing there, little AI, but you're a little ahead of us right now, all right? You're a little ahead of us. So we're going to do photo. There we go. So we're going to let it auto-generate that. We're going to add some more items here in a second. So instead of this going to a URL, this is now going to be very similar to our user ID, except this is going to be photo ID. And let's see if the AI will, there we go. It will be photo ID, and it's going to be an integer with a foreign key to photo ID. So what's going to happen is when someone uploads a photo, nullable, this can be nullable. We do want the photo one to be nullable because they don't need to add a photo to their post. So we need this to be true. So that way they don't need to add one to their post. So if they do add a photo, we first need to process that photo and add it to the table before we then make their post. So that way it's stored here in the database. There's a record of it that they can refer to. Now, when they give us a photo, again, we just have the generic ID here. We have the post that it's associated with. This also allows us to potentially open up, allowing a photo to have multiple posts it's associated to. For right now, this is fine because one photo, one post. URL, we want this, so this will tell us where our photo lives and how we can retrieve our photo on the front end. Created at, updated at, not really needed because they're not going to be allowed to update photos. And then disabled, we can just keep that as house cleaning methods. The last one we're going to want to make here is something maybe called tags. No. We're going to make another table. And this is going to be called photo tags. There we go. This is going to be called photo tags. All right. So what this is going to be is, because again, if we're going to have an array of data, that means we should have probably a different table, right? Anytime you're trying to fit a lot into one field, it means you should probably have a completely different table to handle that. Every field typically in a database in a SQL database should just be some type of simplistic base variable type, integer, string, Boolean, right? Date, time. It shouldn't be complex, ideally, like an array, right? So what we can do here is have photo tags, where now all the tags will go in here. And as you can see, it's just going to be photo ID and then tag ID. This is more of like a glue table, where we're gluing kind of things together, right? We don't need an ID for this because the tags are going to be just glued to the photo items. So this tag ID, this is not made correctly because we have no table called tag. What this should be instead is what the tag is called. There we go. And primary key, we don't need one. So we're going to do it like this. All right. So again, something simplistic. We thought we would just make posts. It would be quick. We make the post database and start posting. No. When you start thinking through it, you'll realize that something that seems very simplistic could be very complex, right? Could be very complex. But it's all right. It's not like super complex. It's just things need to be broken up a little bit more. So a quick recap. We're going to allow posts. When someone posts, we're going to store the user ID, so that way we can get the user info out of the user table. It will have its own ID for generic references. Thanks for the follow, yes. It was kind of delayed. I saw it on the other screen instead of the main one, so thanks for the follow. The user ID, the text is going to be the text of the post, all right? It's going to be limited to 255 characters. Photo ID, so this is optional because it can be null. If it is null, then they posted without a photo. When they created the post, when they updated the post, if the post is disabled. If they did add a photo, we want to store those photos, information about those photos on a separate table. They'll have an ID, the post they're associated with, the URL to that photo, so that way the front-end site can retrieve that photo wherever we store it, which we're going to store it on disk somewhere, created at and disabled, and then tags. So our machine learning application will identify things in the photo. Every little single item it identifies in the photo, it will add a new record for every single item here into the photo tags table, right? So we are expecting multiple records with multiple, each one tag each for one photo. Any questions, comments, or concerns on this before we move forward? Let me pull up the Discord just in case anyone's chatting. All right, I don't see any questions, so we shall continue on. All right, we'll continue on just a little bit further to complete a post without photos, right? And then we'll call it good because it is Friday, and I don't know about you, but I'm trying to do a little drinky. All right, so we'll see if we can wrap this up in the next 10 minutes or so. All right. So let's go to, we need to make a new file here and new endpoints also for posting, right? We'll call it post, the endpoint called post, and the endpoint called post will have a get request to get posts, and additionally, we'll have the ability to post posts, right? So let's make a new file here, and let's call this post singular.py, and in here, okay, the server was not running good. Let me close all other ones. Let's pull up the database. Let's pull this to the side so we can check it out. So in here, we're going to want to make a new class called post, and this class is going to be def __ init __ self. We don't need all that. Let's go ahead and steal from ourselves earlier in here because we do need that active database connection. So we'll go ahead and just grab the init from over here because this is just what we need right here. Then we're going to go ahead and make a def and we'll take that auto-generated code. It does not work. It's pretty good. It's not going to work. As you can see, right, this is not a thing right here, but it's pretty close. Let's go and add some import statements. Post as post. Oh, wow. Cheeky little thing. Except it messed up this. All right. We want libs.db import post. All right, so we want to import post. So now we have access to our post item here. We don't need access to, we'll go and import photo and tags, but we're not going to do anything with those yet. And I guess let's import user also. So we're going to get the DB connection. After we get the DB connection, we'll set up this get request. This get request is absolutely useless to us until we actually have posts going on. It's trying to do that toDict function that we made on our user, which will not work because it does not exist on the post, but we can go ahead and create it because that's a good idea. So look at that, it's auto writing it for us. There we go. Now we have a toDict, so we can use this for testing. So people will try to get posts, and when they try to get posts, they'll get a singular post, right? They'll get a singular post. Right now, this is not really a get per se, but more of a get by ID because it's going to look for a particular ID. I don't know. We'll edit get later on because it's pretty much kind of useless for us until we can make posts. Oh wow, it wants to do a get all. That doesn't work because we have to use the pre-made functions here. Okay, there we go. What did it auto write for us? User ID. So when someone wants to do a post request to us, we do need their user ID, their text, their photo. So this works, except we're not going to collect it here. We're going to collect it again in that JSON data. So that's going to be in our requests, which we're not importing here. So we need to go over here to Flask import requests. We're going to copy that code and put it here. And we're going to get it out of the request.get JSON data from the body. All right. So they're going to give us the data from the body. And now we want from that, they also are only allowed to hit this if they're authenticated. So we need our authentication script, which I remember now we are supposed to make the function for this and we didn't. So forgive me, we're going to have really wet code here. So tomorrow we'll fix it. We'll fix it so it's not wet. So let's go ahead and put our authentication stuff right here. Import JWT. All right, so they need to be authenticated to make a post. Once they're authenticated to make a post, we have to do import OS. Oh God. Once they're authenticated to make a post, we're going to go ahead and get the request data. Once we get the request data, then we can extract from it our user ID. They also need to tell us what text they want to do, and the photo ID will be, we don't need the photo ID, so we can get rid of that one for now. And this seems good. Let's do a double check here. We just need our text and the user ID. All right, text and the user ID, which is what we're getting again here, is we got our user ID and our text. So I think this is good. I think this is all we need. So this could error out if they send us some bad JSON data, so we can wrap this into a try. And then a accept. There we go, invalid request. Now, this will work, but it would be good to validate, you know, again, it's up to you on how much you want to trust things, right? You can run it like this and trust that the JWT was valid and that user ID that's on that JWT is valid, right? And you most likely will be completely fine, right? But it's really cheap to just quickly check, so I would highly recommend just make a quick check to validate. So if we do user, there we go. If we do user like this, so basically we're going to query the database to see if this user ID is valid or not. All right, we're not going to use this user at all. We don't really care much about this user. We're just running this query to see if the user exists. If it does exist, then things will continue on forward. If they don't exist, this is going to throw an error, which means it's going to say invalid request, right? So that's just a quick sanity check right there to make sure 100% that user is a real user. This user ID is. So that way when they post, it will be tied to a user. Now I think this part is good because we're going to create the post, then the post is going to be added, and we should be good. All right. The only issue here is we're in the wrong Git branch right now. So let's go ahead and do a git checkout tag B to feature slash posting and do a git push. Again, we kind of move sideways there instead of merging back into dev because we're going really, really fast right now. So make sure you go back into dev first. That's the more ideal way. All right. So let's go ahead and, well, I guess before we test it, we need to add the endpoints to main. So let's go ahead and go here. Let's go ahead and make a slash post. So this is where we can post our posts. This is going to be libs.post.post. And we need to import that. So import libs.post. There we go. I'm going to verify this is cold post. It is. All right, so we should be good. We should be good. We should be set up. This is not happy. Let me change this to post. We did make 2 dict. I don't know why it's not showing up. Why it's not being highlighted. Let's do a quick sanity check. This is 100% created right here. So we're going to ignore it. Let's go ahead and test this out in Postman. All right, shall we? So we need to make a new post. So let's make a folder in here for posting. Add folder. Folder is going to be cold post. And inside this post folder, we're going to add a new request. That's going to be creating a new post. This is going to be a post request. And we're going to do URL/post. We need the authorization token. So this is kind of getting annoying. Right? Every time we make one of these, we need to do the authorization token. If the authorization token is wrong, we have to change the authorization token everywhere. Let's do this better. There is an option here called inherent auth from parent. If you switch that, it will go from to the parent. All right, the parent is every single parent. So the parent of this is going to be the post folder. So we could set it in here, but we could go to the parent of the post folder, which is 100 days, and we could set it in here. So let's just send it here in 100 days. And now everything inside of 100 days will use this token. So now we no longer have to worry about this token, and there's only one place we have to refer to change for this token to affect everything. So let's go ahead and try to post right now with just a empty thing. It should return to us that we gave it an invalid request. And it would be better if we turned on the server. So let me turn the server back on. Type object post has no attribute as view. What is going on here? Let's double check the user creation here. Yep, we just created the user and then we added the user. Is it because we're getting a clash here with post, and then this is called post? So to fix that, we're going to call this create, or not create post, but posting. Right, we'll call this posting, I guess, just to resolve the name conflict. Again, you can probably think of better names than me. I'm not being that creative with these names. All right, so let's go ahead and rerun this. And libs has no attribute posting. Oh, we didn't save. Make sure you save. I definitely saved that time. Has no attribute as view. Posting, am I missing something? Yes, resource. For this. That would help out if it was an actual hittable endpoint. All right, let's go ahead and make our post. So this should return, there we go, invalid request, which is our custom message that we put right here. That's for invalid token, sorry, right here, because we didn't give it what we required, which was the text. All we have to do is pass it the text because the user ID is automatically gotten from our token. So if we go in here and we say text, we can now make a post. So text, and our text is going to be I like cute pigs, right? Exclamation marks here. Send it, and ooh, we get a beautiful error. The table does not exist, so the table did not get created. Why did the table not get created? Let's go ahead and refresh here. See, the user tables here. Why did our other tables not get created? They are being imported here. This is being ran. App create db create all. The only thing I think of is because the db file. db is right here. Oh, we're not importing them. There we go. Now we're importing all of them. So let me stop this. Let's rerun it from scratch. Now the table should be created. So we're missing the rest of our new tables on the import line here. So now that we imported them, they should be created now. So let's refresh our database connection, and the tables are not going to be there. Ay, ay, ay. All right, so quick workaround would be what would a quick workaround be? The quick workaround would be just to copy this, put it into main, because I think I know what the issue is. So I'm just going to put that into main. Foreign key, post user ID. Okay, post. Okay, was this an error that showed up before? Foreign key, photo ID. Okay, so these ones need to be made beforehand. We kind of got a catch-22 going on here. So photo table needs to be made before this one. Post ID needs to be made before this one. User ID needs to be made before this one. Photo ID needs to be made before this. So these are doubly pointing at each other. So let's just remove the foreign key association on this one for now. So hopefully it can be created. Because it's not required at first. We can always alter it later. But the indexing will be affected. But we're not going to have a bunch of data in it, so it doesn't really matter too much right now. Alright, so for the quick fix, I'm just going to copy and paste it. I will off-string figure out the proper way that we should be setting this up, because this is, we're missing something here. User ID not be found in the user post user ID. User ID equals foreign key user dot ID. Gosh darn it. Does it want this too? Holy crap. Is it happy now? I think it's happy now. There we go. Alright, now it worked. The reason is, so if you want to go before watching the next stream, if you want to figure it out yourself, the reason is our DB here that's getting created is not connected to our active connection. I guess they're not getting synced up properly. So this isn't getting pushed to the database. So we need to alter this. We need to alter this so it is being hooked up to the database properly via like how this one is right here. Right? So the quick fix was to kind of just dump those classes right here once so they would get created. And once they're created, we can kind of just remove them, call it good, and now we can move forward. So now if we look in here, our post table is going to be created and it's going to be in here. And now we can see that our post was created successfully, right? Our post was created successfully. If we look here in the post table, we can see our post now shows up here, all right? And now we can make a bunch of posts, right? We can make a bunch of posts. There we go. We made another post. Now we need to just finish up here with our get request post. So let's go ahead and add a request. And we're going to say get posts. We're going to make this one very simple. We're just going to get all of the posts for ourselves, right? Get all the posts that we posted ourselves. So this is going to be URL / post get request send. I think it's going to be in an error state because it wants that ID. So we need to alter our code here for post in the get request to make this ID be not from here, but we're going to get it from our token again. Again, this is not dry at all. We are going to make it dry tomorrow, right? We're going to make it dry tomorrow. So let's get that token. When we get that token, we're going to get the data in the token, and in that data from the token, we can go ahead and extract out the ID. There we go. Now when we do our get request, it will look at the token that is associated to us in our ID and then return to us all of our posts, which this is not all of our posts. So let's go ahead and change this. Right now it's going to say first right here. We don't want it to be first. We want it to be all of them. Do we have to do anything here? I think it will give us all of them by default. I think it's .many is the other. I don't know. Let's just do nothing here. We can't just do to dick because this is going to be an array of items. So we're going to want to make a new array here. Did I actually write the code here? There we go. We can do it here with shorthand, and then just return array. Let's see. Let's see if this worked. Perfect. This worked. I thought we created another post. Yeah, we should have 3 posts now. So this is not returning all of our posts. So in here we need, is it .many? Let's see. Not .many. Let's go ahead and go to Bing. Let's say Flask SQL Alchemy query get all. Is it? Maybe it's just called .all. Maybe I was overthinking it. Yeah, it's just called .all. All right, let's change this to all, and then rerun. This is not ever four post. Oh, that is the issue. 4p and there we go. Why are you doing this? So we're going to get all of the posts. This should be an array of data of all of our posts with that ID. Let's go to the database and do a sanity check. There are 3 posts in here. All of them have the same user ID. So we want, this will be an array of them. This is going to go through each one and then add them. Maybe this is glitching out for some reason. I don't know. I don't want to investigate it. So let's just go ahead and make this an array. Let's call this 4p and post and data append to dick. Let's try it this way. Still results the same. Let's just do another sanity check where we're going to print the length of post and see how many posts show up here. So we run that, and it says only 1 is coming back. Filter by this, and we want everything. Did I save it? I did save it. This isn't the get request. This is all. Let's see. What are we missing in here? Users join query.all. Users query.all. Query post, is it? Okay, maybe the .all is supposed to be right here, and then we filter at the end. So let's retry that again. List object has no attribute filter all. So didn't really like that either. So as a quick alternative, we can just do this. There we go. We're just going to do this as a quick alternative for now. So we need to figure out how to filter. Was our filter wrong? Filter ID data. Oh, wait, whatever. We're going to just put a to do here. To do figure out filtering. Right? Figure out filtering so we don't get other people's posts. Because right now we won't really see it, but if we post as another user, this will give us all the posts, and we don't want all the posts. We only want our posts. So, quick recap. For a get, we have just the generic, are you actually authenticated? If you are, great. If they are actually authenticated, we're going to get all the posts in the post database. This includes ours and not our posts. We want to change this later on to be our posts. We're going to do a quick check to see if it's none. All right, if it's none, then we're going to want to return that there was an issue. So let's go ahead and actually change this to like a 500 issue, because this is on the server side. If there are no issues, then we're going to go ahead and then process out this data. All we're going to do is make an array, and this array is going to be every single post, but we need to turn that post into a dictionary before we return it, because remember, we can only return dictionaries and arrays. So we got to convert all these post objects into those dictionaries and arrays. This is going to be a list of post items. All right, sweet. And you can also, like you saw earlier me do, this will work if you do the shorthand version. So, oh, did it work? I feel like it showed up for a second there. So we can do p dot, here we go. This is the shorthand version. So you can do this for loop, or you can do this. These are the exact same thing. This is just the condensed shorthand version of it. As you can see, when I rerun this, it works just fine. And all of our posts are here, right? All of our posts are here with the text, who the user is, right? So it's super great, super convenient for us. Any questions, comments, or concerns before we call it a day, right? Before we call it good, we end the stream, we move on, right? Tomorrow, go in and ask your questions, right? Go in and ask your questions. I'm watching the stream. So tomorrow, we're going to continue on with our posts. We're going to add the ability to add images, upload images, and then we're also going to do the authorization stuff, right? We're going to fix that. And then if there's enough time, we'll start looking into the machine learning aspect. Right, we'll start looking at the machine learning aspect. We're not going to finish it tomorrow, but we're going to start looking into it, and then the day after that, well, I guess it's going to be chill Q&A. So the day after chill Q&A, we're going to then incorporate that to automatically get us tags. Any questions at all? If you do have questions after the stream, as always, you can go to the Discord and ask your questions here in the 100 Days of Rootkit text chat. Alrighty, I don't see any questions, so that's all I got for you guys today. So I'll see you guys tomorrow on the next one.